being a justly balanced ummah did not happen by chance. Did not happen by chance. Did not happen by chance. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who made you a justly balanced ummah. Why did Allah create us as a justly balanced ummah? So that you will be witnesses for Allah to humankind. And the Prophet be witness of Allah to you. But Islam historically spread more by people being shuhada, witnesses for Allah in their own behavior, in their own ethics, in their own productivity. It is only when we pursue that path and implement this concept of just balance in our lives as Muslims that we can give, inshallah, a shining example for the rest of humanity.
The next question from the front mic.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Farhan, I am a software professional. You have talked about three set or group of people in your lecture. The first group is those people who are religious and they say we have left everything for the sake of Allah Ta'ala. And the second group of people are those who are occupied with work, but side by side they also offer 5 times namaz. The third set or group of people are those who have completely forgotten Allah Ta'ala and they say we have not seen him so we won't believe in him, like they are atheists and all. So my question is, who among these three groups are more justified or will get more marks in the hereafter or on the day of judgment?
Okay, of course, those who forgot about Allah, the Quran answered it. Nasullaha fanasiyahum. They forgot about Allah, so Allah forgot not in terms of memory, hasha lillah. Forgot that mean left them, didn't pay attention to them. So that group, of course, is in a serious problem, and we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide them to remember Allah before it is too late. They might remember at the time of death, but we hope that they come back before that moment arrives. But I'm coming to that. I just answered one category. The other two categories, inshallah, I hope if their intention is pure, even if they're renouncing the world, that inshallah we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from them. But I would prefer the ones who pray and sleep, who enjoy the life that Allah has given within the limits that Allah provided without excess. Because the reason I prefer that is not my personal preference. That was the words and action of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But I would not demean others. What if somebody wants to go to the mountain and keep worshiping Allah? May Allah accept from him. But I'm saying the ideal is not this. And if everybody follow that example, who's going to run life? Salvation in Islam is not by isolation from life, but by struggling in the community, the life. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu once was asked, which one is better? The one who doesn't really feel shahwa to do something wrong, to do sin, or the one who really wants to do sin but restrain himself? You know what his answer? He said, those who wish to do the sin, feel the desire, but don't do it. أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ امْتَحَنَ اللَّهُ قُلُوبَهُمْ لِلتَّقْوَى. These are the ones that Allah tested their hearts for taqwa. So in that sense then, this is the ideal, because that's what the Prophet ﷺ taught us, because life cannot go on with everybody renouncing the world. Who is going to do the software design, for example?
We'll have the next question, inshallah, from the rear mic.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Altaf Khan. I am a student. My question is that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did dawah to non-Muslim. This peace conference is also doing the some, but why Muslim Jamaat do dawah to Muslim only? Why to not non-Muslim?
Jazakallahu khairan. If you're asking me as to whether it is our obligation to reach out with the message of Islam to others, you're absolutely right, and I think everybody agrees with this. But my impression is that many of the sessions I've seen here, alhamdulillah, when Sheikh Yusuf last night was asking people to raise their hands, those who are not Muslim, and there were quite a few hands, and they are welcome, and we're very happy that they're coming, even though you may not easily distinguish them. So welcome, and they are doing. Dr. Zakir Sahib was telling me the other day also that in the last session of the previous peace conference in English 2 years ago, he says there were probably close to 300,000, about 100,000 of them in his estimate were people of other faith communities. So I'm not saying we should pat ourselves on the back and say we have done our duty, but alhamdulillah, we see already that we are reaching with da'wah. Furthermore, brother, let's remember also that the conference is not only for the people who are attending, because things are simultaneously, some sessions are broadcast on the internet, they are taped, and they are broadcast, and I understand there are millions, if not tens of millions of people who watch the Peace TV. So something is happening, some progress is being made, but we should not be complacent. I agree with you, we should do more as best as Allah guides us.
Jazakallah khairah for the question as well, for the answer. As well, one thing I'd love to add is Peace TV and IRF have put forth the invitation all over Mumbai and made it specifically mention that non-Muslims are welcome to come. But if they don't receive that message, it's then incumbent upon us, the non-Muslims that we know, that we work with, our neighbors, invite them to come along. Peace TV and IRF have done their part. Now the audience, all of you are invited to also do your part, to invite your non-Muslim colleagues and friends along, inshallah. We'll have the next question from the sisters.
Assalamu alaikum. My question is, how can we remain a justly balanced ummah in the time of crisis when the ummah itself has got divided into two extremes, and what are the means to choose the path of i'tidal or the middle path?
In the time of crisis, we still have just balance. In the middle of the battlefield, we have a just balance. Look, even when you're allowed, and these are the two only reason I found explicit in the Quran, to defend yourself against unprovoked aggression or to resist severe oppression. And both of them are found in Surah 60, in Ayah 9, and also in the second surah of the Quran, Al-Baqarah, especially if you read from 190 to 194. Response to unprovoked aggression or resistance, even if you have the justification. You don't say, all right, it is battle, it is war, there is no control on wars. I'm not talking even about recent times when, there's the Geneva Convention and various international laws. Before that, 14 centuries before that, the Prophet ﷺ says, all right, you go first in the name of Allah. You do not commit any treachery, like telling people, for example, put your arms and you will be safe. They put their arms and you kill them. No. You respect your word. Don't commit treachery. You don't hurt women who are not fighting, children, old people, clergy of other religions like monks, even young people who are not carrying arms, asif, people who are hired, for example, to do agricultural, industrial, professional thing who are not constituting danger. You don't kill animals even, except as needed for food. You don't cut fruitful trees. So here there is a just balance. Just balance between being totally pacifist and just keep being on the receiving side. Somebody occupy you, you say, God bless you. Take your property, say, take everything. I kill your son, will kill all of them. I can't raise my hands because I'm a peaceful person. Between this unrealistic kind of meekness on one hand and aggressiveness of fighting this and that and making no consideration for human lives of people who are not fighting you and trying to kill you. So even then, so the same thing in the time of crisis, we don't lose our minds because we always find in the comprehensive teaching of Islam how to deal with all situations. In fact, when some of my friends in America or others ask me, but why does the Quran, it's a holy book, how come it speaks about war? I say if it does not speak about how to cope with conflict resolution, it's no good, it's not complete. If it only talk how to handle peace, it's imperfect. But it gives us a guidance. So we have to examine the nature of crisis we're facing, the limits that we have from our Sharia, and then use our minds to see what means can we come up with that keep us on that road of just balance.
Jazakallah.
Wa iyyakum.
We'll have the next question from the front mic.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hakimuddin. I'm from Malaysia and I keenly follow your talks and very interested in interfaith. We have a lot of these talks in Malaysia too, but I'm really impressed by the thing here. is on a grand scale. I would like to ask you a question, what about Dawah in the West, especially in Canada where you're in the forefront, reaching out to the non-Muslims there?
Alhamdulillah, not only in North America, Canada, United States, but also in Europe and Australia, are all countries, alhamdulillah, that Allah enabled me by His grace to go, even though there were much better people to go. But my humble observation is that, alhamdulillah, it is making waves, especially as Muslims learn how to do a better dialogue. There was a time, and by the way, all of us are guilty of that, including myself, because we were learning. There was a time when dialogue was more of a debate really than dialogue, where the matching or partners in so-called dialogue actually are coming with a different agenda. So the people chose people who are not really willing to give and take and listen. So sometimes some of those types of debates, it varied from one situation and one person to the other, were quite prominent at one time. I think there have been a tendency, and I follow myself that approach at the present time, that it is far better, actually, based even on the Quran and Sunnah, if you follow it more closely, to have dialogue that is in a very cordial type of atmosphere, not compromising the truth, but being gentle also in giving that truth without trying to put people into an embarrassing type of position and let people themselves judge for their own. I think that approach seemed to bearing so many fruits. I'll just give you one example. One brother, an imam in North America, said he was once invited to speak on Islam in a church, and somebody asked them about what does the Quran say about Mary, because apparently they were Catholic. There were lots of sisters sitting. Even with the translation of the Quran, he recited what the Quran says about Maryam alayhi salam. He said those sisters were weeping. And it reminded me and him with the Negus, the king of Abyssinia, when the Muslim recited to him also, that says he was weeping profusely, that beard was soaked with tears. And I heard similar stories, one even from one brother with us here, Brother Arib. So I think if we get through that approach without being always controversial, trying to prove that your faith is wrong, your book is wrong, and all of that, say what is right in Islam, brother, what is wrong with you? If people ask controversial questions, still if a person is knowledgeable enough, it could be handled in a gentle way and respectful way, rather than taking interfaith dialogue as if it's a boxing match. You can win the debate, but lose people's hearts and interest. What we accomplished.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
The next question from the rear mic.
Assalamualaikum, sir. So my name is Khan Akthar. I'm a first year engineering student. I just want to ask a simple question about the solution for my studies. Sir, I'm not able to study because of the classes and the college. The time is collapsed. Because of that, I'm not able to offer namaz at the right time. My Asr and Zohr namaz, I offer regularly that namaz at the same time. Sir, please give me that solution to do that, sir.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of His mercy, while it is desirable to pray also on time, He gave us some space. And in fact, like you said, if there is a legitimate reason, like you cannot just walk in the middle of the class, a class could be important for you, there is a range. So if the prayer time comes before the class and the class might take too long, it would be much better to pray before going to the class. If it goes beyond the best time, you can pray whenever you can. But there are cases, however, if you're asking about that, where you might have to combine prayers, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there is room for that also. There are some scholars like Sheikh Sayyid Sabiq, for example, in his Fiqh Sunnah, and others indicate that there has been cases where the Prophet ﷺ combined prayers even though he was not on travel or sick or because of rain, because sometimes when it's raining hard and it's Maghrib, he just combined Maghrib with Isha. But they said even outside of that, there were occasions, but not regularly, where he combined prayers. You know the great Sahabi, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, he commented on that hadith, he said, أَرَادَ أَلَّا يُحْرِجَ أُمَّتَهُ, that the Prophet ﷺ did not wish to put his ummah in undue hardship. Now we can understand it. You're a chemistry student or biology student. You can't leave the lab. It could blow up and the experiment is set for that time. This is a required course. You cannot change the time, okay? This would be a case. Our sister, as a medical doctor, you might be doing a very serious operation, somebody in danger, life in danger. You don't say, leave the patient open until you finish salah and come back to find him dead. So there are excuses that are reasonable that one could not help it, in which, based on that precedent from the Prophet ﷺ.
Sir, but it is my regular schedule, sir.
You mean regular because you're taking always courses at that time and there is no other substitute?
No, sir.
Then ضرورة تقدر بقدرها. Darura in Sharia is estimated as the period that you need to do that. For example, in holidays between classes or between semesters, there is no reason to do that. But if these are the courses that you have to take and there is no other way out, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you that license, and the Prophet ﷺ himself alluded to that.
Thank you, sir.
We'll have the next question from the sisters.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I am Nikhat Abdullah and doing Masters in Economics. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. We are the Ummatul Wusta, and our religion Islam is also balanced and solve our all economical, social and political problems. Sir, my question is, how can we, Ummatul Wusta, solve and balance the matter of Palestine?
As I indicated earlier, the comprehensive nature of Islam is that it gave us the guidance to deal or manage peace and manage conflict. And the basic rules on managing conflict is that we should try first, initially, to seek not just a peaceful solution, a just peaceful solution, because if there is no justice, there is no sustained peace. And that was the approach of the Prophet ﷺ. He tried to avoid conflict, military conflict, as best as he could. And he did that, for example, by having coalitions with tribes. When he went to Medina, he tried to reach out to the surrounding tribes. He did not demand they accept Islam, because la ikraha fi din, there is no compulsion. But at least to have what we call today non-aggression, mutual non-aggression treaty. We will not attack you, you do not attack us, and you do not help people from Mecca, for example, who are coming to fight, don't help them. And that was a brilliant way of avoiding, battle and bloodshed, if it can be achieved this way. Whenever he heard, for example, of gathering of some tribes, and there is an imminent attack, they're raising an army, he took action very quickly, not say, okay, let them come and we'll, suck it to them. No. This kind of bellicose thing that some people or leaders will have. Let them come and we'll show them. No, he immediately sent an army, and before they get organized, they spread and they go. Alhamdulillah, it saved lives of Muslims and it saved lives of non-Muslims, because maybe these people will be guided in the future to Islam. Now, if the peaceful means fail to do this, and the only way is to defend oneself, then we are guided also by the causes and the means. In Islam, ends do not justify means. Now, is the Palestinian cause or end a legitimate one? It is legitimate one according to human nature. It is a legitimate one according to international law. It is a legitimate one according to the UN Charter. All of these sets of laws, internationally accepted laws, say basically that you have every right to repel aggression, unprovoked aggression applied to you. It also says if you are occupied by a foreign forces, you have every right to resist occupation. This is not Charter of United Nations, but some people demand this be implemented by some weaker nations but not more powerful nations. International law should apply equally to everyone. The French fighters against the Nazi occupation were not called terrorists. Maybe the Germans at the time called them terrorists, the Nazis. They were called freedom fighters, defending their land against foreign military occupation. Now what's happening to Palestinian people? They have been occupied, not for a year or two, not for a decade or two, it's more than 60 years now. Many of them were driven by acts of terrorism terrorism that was introduced by the Zionists into the land of Palestine. And please keep in mind, when we say Zionists, we're not saying Judaism, we're not saying. Some people are trying to make anti-Judaism, anti-Semitism, anti-Israelis is the same thing. This is false, this is deceptive. There are many anti-Zionist Jews who speak more powerfully than Muslims even about the atrocities done to the Palestinian people. The United Nations said that war crimes and crimes against humanity were committed. The use of phosphorus to burn, the point-blank shooting of children. Their land is taken away. The apartheid wall is put, a barrier between people and poor farmers. The harassment that takes place. So there is murder, there is occupation, there is intimidation, there is no disregard for human rights, there is war crimes. And after all of that, we say, let's see if we can accept any crumb of bread that falls from the table of the occupier. I don't think that any person of conscience, Muslim or non-Muslim, and I've seen writings of many people, and in our area we get into demonstrations sometimes, majority are non-Muslim. The greatest demonstration against Iraq war that took place in London, I heard was 2 million. The great majority were not Muslims. There are many people of conscience across the board, including some Jews who are very much against the atrocities against the Palestinians. But like I said earlier, we have also to observe the rules that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set us in handling conflict. Even in the battlefield, remember when I said the ethics of the Muslim does not depart because it is war. Like many people say, oh, it is war. You kill civilians, it is war. You want to get one person to kill him, you kill 50 people with him, that's okay, justified, it is war. No, this is careless disregard of human life. And Muslim also should observe the same. A person, taking a car bomb or having explosive around him and detonate it in a marketplace, among school children, or worst even against other Muslims in mosques. These are things that cannot really be defended. Our ethics should be equally applied. What we demand of others, we demand of ourselves. Legitimate resistance, legitimate fight against occupation and intimidation and aggression, but also through the legitimate means that Islam has guided us with.
Jazakallah.
Jazakumullahu khaira. That is all the time that we have for the question and answers. So we will finish the session here, inshallah. A big thank you for our dear Sheikh, Dr. Jamal Badawi.
Jazakumullah khair. Barakallah feek.